I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, on my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused on dangerous, they don't want it when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know this because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me. Elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And whoo, watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC Vegas 77. We have Holly Holm going against Mara Bueno Silva. We have a 13-fight card here. We have a card that, I don't know. It's a card where there's like no name value, but I think a couple of these fights are going to be very fun. Obviously, the McKinney fight, my main event, that fight's going to be awesome. We have the Azaitar fight. It's going to be awesome. We get to see Jack Della Maddalena knock someone out in the first round. The Evan Elder fight's going to be very fun. So I think it's going to be a fun card overall. Obviously, there are a lot of fights where you're like, man, what's going on here? But you know, it should be a good card nonetheless. I think it's a good card. I think it's fine. Not the best card in the world, especially compared to UFC 290 last week. We have UFC London next week. We have UFC 291 the week after. So some very good cards coming up. This is a card where just literally nothing's sticking out. Like from a betting perspective, this is going to be one of my lightest cards of the year. I only have 3 bets and I'm not adding any more. Like nothing's sticking out on this card whatsoever. Like I'm not laying minus 250 on Eileen Perez. I'm not laying minus 250 on Mel Costa. I'm not laying minus 300 on Jack Della inside the distance. It's just a very, very weird week this week where there's just not much sticking out. We have a lot of newcomers. We have a lot of fighters that have not fought in like 3 years, you know, coming back for I don't know why. Just a card that I'm going to keep very, very light. Had a very good card last week in UFC 290. It was the best card I've ever seen in person by a mile. Was able to cash a lot of bets. I think I had like 21, 22 bets last week, up plus 4 units. And this week's like the complete opposite where I have like 3 bets. And even those 3 bets, it seems like I have too much on this card. So keeping it very, very, very light. And some might say not light enough on this card. But and I already started to look into UFC London as well. UFC London next week, we have 15 fights. I think there's going to be more betting opportunities there. But this week, just nothing really sticking out for me at all. Before we get into it, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It is always much, much appreciated. Be sure to check out Prize Picks. Use that promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. I just dropped my Prize Picks video a day late, but went through 8 plays that did stick out. Not a ton sticking out on Prize Picks either, but I think, you know, I like Prize Picks better than a betting perspective this week. And same thing with Draftkings. I like Draftkings a decent amount this week as well. So let's hit up the chat before we get into all the picks and everything. Got Sean, first one in the chat. Let's go, Brady. Let's go, Sean. What is up? We got Bill in the chat. God bless Brady and all of his great betting tips. Yeah, they've been pretty great this year. Hopefully it continues. But this is a week where I'm not going to have a ton to say in terms of a betting perspective. We got my guy David in the chat. What is up, David? How you doing? We got Forrest in the chat. 3 minutes until you better move. You're going to get knocked out. Let's go, Brady. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Tony saying, what's up, Brady? Let's make some money on Saturday. Why the late schedule for this card, especially finishing around 1 o'clock in the morning with a 25-minute hug fest with Bueno Silva and Grandma Holly. Yeah, I don't know. It's I think they're starting at like 7 Eastern, which is ridiculous. So yeah, this card is not going to be over till like very, very late, which is really annoying, to be honest. But it is what it is. We got original Cody. What is up, Cody? Perfect way to pass time at work. Yes, sir. We got Chris in the chat. What is up? What is up? David saying, let's get it. These kind of cards can be deceiving. Yeah, pretty much all the time. All the time they are. But this one, I don't have a ton of high hopes for. We got Ake in the chat. What's good, Brady? How was UFC Live last week? And it was probably one of the best experiences of my life. The Robbie Lawler knockout was wild. The Bo Nickel knockout was wild as well. Just a really good card overall. Like even like the early prelims, like the Ribovics fight was very fun. And then Jesus Aguilar knocking out Shannon Ross in like 10 seconds. That was awesome because I had Aguilar inside the distance. It was a great card. It was a fun time. We got Low in the chat. Brady, what is up? What is up? We got Jason in the chat. What is up, Jason? How you doing? 1 o'clock a.m. UK time. Oof, my goodness. I don't know if I'd be staying up that late for this one there. I know. I feel bad for some of you guys, man. That's crazy. Raymond saying you've been crushing it lately, bro. Good stuff. Yeah, I've kind of changed up my approach to betting this year, and it's been working out. What I'm doing this year is kind of just trying to find ways to bet these plus money spots, trying to take something I like and turn it into plus money. Like, for example, last week I liked Jesus Aguilar, but instead of laying minus 150, I thought he was going to finish Shannon Ross. I got him at like plus 180 inside the distance, stuff like that. And then when I am going to lay chalk, I want to make sure I'm very, very confident in laying any type of chalk. So I'm looking for a lot more plus money spots, being a lot more aggressive, and I think it's paid off quite a bit this year. Is Nico done? I hope not. I like Nico, but that was not a good look. I actually picked Lawler to win, but can't say I was expecting that at all. I managed to catch Volk KO in the third last week. Don't remember if it was from your picks. I think I picked him in the fourth, but I was so close to sprinkling the Volk 3, 4, and 5. But I did have the fight doesn't go at plus money, and then I also bet Volk inside the distance. But yeah, I almost sprinkled that 3, 4, 5, which would have been just an extra 2 units right there. So good week last week, and I'm not trying to give it back on this card whatsoever. We got Forrest saying, any squirrels or rabbits hanging around the headquarters? Yeah, I did see a squirrel. He was actually hopping around, but nothing as of late. So I will be on the look. I saw a bird just now, so we'll see. DFS by the Brady. Did you just make that profile picture? What do you think of round 1 KO either way in the JDM fight? 2 weight cuts in a row could hurt him, but I do think he will be aggressive as usual. Little weird. Little weird that you just made that. Let me see. So I don't really see a KO from Hafez. Hafez, I think if he wins, it's probably like a first round sub, but he does have power. It all depends on the line. Like what line are you getting? I can tell that was quick there. Did you change your mind on any fights after the weigh-ins? No. Nope. Nothing really stuck out at weigh-ins this week. So I say we get into it, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. I do appreciate that a ton. And we're going to get into it. And we're going to kick it off with Eileen Perez going against Ashley Evans Smith. Really? It's minus 135. Okay. Yeah, that's a good line. I was expecting it to be something a little bit crazier than that. Yeah, I don't hate that. But yeah, we got Ashley Evans Smith going against Eileen Perez. Never thought I'd see the day, but Eileen Perez is a minus 250 favorite in the UFC. And what I think is going on here is people are trying to fade Ashley Evans Smith. And I get it. Ashley Evans Smith, I'm not really sure what she's doing here. She has not fought in literally 2.5 years. She's 1-4 in her last 5 fights. What is Ashley Evans Smith doing in the UFC at this point? I don't know. But in the same sentence, like Eileen Perez, she's not great. And she's not somebody where I would even think about laying anywhere near minus 250 on. Like, a lot could go wrong laying minus 250 on Eileen Perez. And these dogs have been barking lately, and these WMMA dogs have been barking all year. It's been crazy. It seems like every single week, no matter how confident you are in a WMMA favorite, it seems like they drop the ball. I know it doesn't happen every time, but it happens a lot. So, and we have 4 WMMA favorites here, and I'm not touching any 4 of them, and I'm not touching any 4 of the fights outside of the Dudakova fight. We'll talk about that one. But yeah, I'm not laying minus 250 on Eileen Perez. It seems kind of ridiculous for somebody that I don't think is that great. But she's taking on Ashley Evans Smith. Ashley Evans Smith, she's probably showing up for a paycheck. And Eileen Perez, at least she's younger. She's been more active, and I think that's enough to get the job done. But laying minus 250 on Eileen Perez just seems like a terrible strategy long term. So, and I'd be disgusted with myself if I laid minus 250 on Perez. And if she lost, I probably would never show my face again. So big pass here. From a DraftKings perspective, big pass. I'm not laying 8,800 on Eileen Perez, and I don't want anything to do with Ashley Evans Smith. Don't have any interest in this fight from a betting perspective, from a DraftKings perspective, from a FanDuel perspective, from a Prize Picks perspective, from an underdog perspective, from a fan perspective, from any perspective you can possibly come up with. I don't have interest in it. So give me Perez to get the job done, just because I think she probably wants to be here more, and I think that's enough to get the job done. But minus 250 on Eileen Perez, quite frankly, is disgusting, and I will not be betting it there. I only bet underdogs in WMMA. Yeah, I mean, if you've been doing that, you're making a lot of money. Like Denise Gomes last week was a massive underdog, and she starched Teregi in like 10 seconds. It's wild. Eileen Perez by decision. Yeah, that's probably how she wins. But I guess my concern with that would be if Ashley Evans Smith just doesn't want to be here and kind of looks for the door. But I think decision is the most likely scenario. After seeing Perez and Ashley Evans Smith at weigh-ins, I thought this was a lingerie fighting championship. I didn't get to see them face off. I watched everybody weigh in, but I didn't get to see the face-offs yet. But I'll have to go check it out. We got Johnny Parsons in the building. Johnny Parsons next week taking on Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts. I will be looking into your fight, Johnny Parsons, sometime tonight. I've already taped 3 fights on the UFC London card. I taped the Muniz Craig fight. I taped the Molly McCann Julia Stoliarenko fight. And then I taped the main event, Tom Aspinall going against Marcin Tybura. And I'll be sure to tape Johnny Parsons, Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts, which is a guaranteed banger there. What is up, Johnny Parsons? How are you doing? There should be 3 or 4 fun fights tomorrow. Yeah, I think I named off 4 that I'm really looking forward to, but I don't know if I can name more than 4. Maybe I can go 5, but there's 4 actually really good ones. So many perspectives. I mean, any perspective you could possibly think of. Ashley Evans Smith, yeah, she did knock out a man. Ashley Evans Smith that beat the transgender fighter that was knocking every. Yep, that was her. Mara Bueno Silva all day. We'll talk about that one. All right. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Alex Munoz going against Carl Deaton III. So we have another fighter like Ashley Evans Smith who is making a return after just a very, very long layoff. It's been 2 years, a little bit over 2 years since we've seen Alex Munoz in the cage, and it's been a long time since we've seen him get a win. Alex Munoz is 0-2 in the UFC. He lost the violent Bob Ross, Pena, and then he lost to, I think, Hackbrast. So, yeah, 0-2 in the UFC, has not won in a long time. He's coming back after a long layoff. He's coming back after, like, a major injury, major surgery, which is, kind of scary when we're talking about laying this price tag. So I saw Munoz, he was sitting at, like, minus 135 even, like, minus 150 earlier in the week. And then, like, the last, 24 hours, he got completely steamed, and he's now minus 205. I mean, it's hard to lay minus 205 on a fighter that has not fought in 2 years, a fighter that, he is coming back from, like, a major, major injury, and a fighter that is 0-2 in the UFC. But I think it's a matchup where he does go out there and get the win. But minus 205, I just don't have any interest. What I do have interest in, though, is from a DraftKings perspective. Alex Munoz, 8,300, very good wrestler. I think he does wrestle. I think he does get the fight down to the mat early and often. And I think he does take down Carl Deaton several times across 15 minutes, ultimately winning a decision. But minus 205, passing from a betting perspective, DraftKings, I like him a lot. And then on Prize Picks, they did have the Munoz takedown set at 2.5. But last night, and then I checked again today when I did my Prize Picks video, they moved it to 3, which I think at the very least it pushes. But I think I can absolutely see him get 4, 5, 6. He was able to get 4 against the violent Bob Ross. He was able to get 4 on the Contender Series. So I think there's a squirrel. I don't know what's going on. There's a squirrel out there. Hey, get out of here. So yeah, I think the higher or the more on the takedowns is a good look. All right. But yeah, another fight I don't have a ton of interest in. Hysterical at the face-offs watching Deaton trying to intimidate Munoz with that haircut. I mean, yeah, that haircut is very intimidating and terrifying haircut there from Deaton. One of the most questionable haircuts I've ever seen. I was trying to break down the haircut with Uncle Weezy on Stat Diggers, and I was just at a loss for words. Like I didn't say anything for about a minute because I was just trying to, put into words how to describe what's going on. And then someone in the chat said missed a spot, and I think that's just a perfect way to describe Carl Deaton's haircut, and that's missed a spot, which he did. And he needs to fix it. Maybe after he loses this fight, he'll go and fix that. But give me Munoz to get it done. Minus 205 on Alex Munoz is not something I want involved in. 83 watching, only 24 likes. Yeah, I'll see if we can get those likes up. I know it's not the best card in the world, but hey, it's a card nonetheless. So see if we can hit the like button there. Munoz isn't a big 155er, but he was much taller than Deaton. If Munoz shows up 80% of his former self, this should be a cakewalk. Agreed. Deaton has no takedown defense. His only attribute is grit. Yep, I agree. I think it's a good matchup for him. I hope Deaton wins because he looks so crazy. He does look. I mean, if you're rocking a haircut like that, you got to have a little crazy in you, right? I mean, there's no, normal person that's going to rock a haircut like that, I'd say. And yeah, he did miss a spot. All right, let's keep moving on. We have Azat Maxim going against Tyson Nam. We have Maxim making his debut, undefeated, flyweight, big favorite, minus 415 for Azat Maxim. So I was in Vegas all Sunday. Went to the airport Sunday evening. Was at the airport for a while. Got on the plane had to be like midnight Vegas time. Get back to Ohio like at 6 a.m. and then have to drop my friend off, drop my brother off. By the time I get home, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I pull an all-nighter Sunday night into Monday, and then I go to bed, wake up, and then all the props have dropped already, and then all the props have already been smashed. So I guess I just missed all these props dropping. And one thing I did miss was the under in this fight. So the under 2.5 rounds apparently opened up at plus 150, and it looks like it was there for a while. It went to plus 150 to plus 110. That plus 110 was there for a while, and then it went all the way to minus 110, and that minus 110 was there for a long time, and then now it's minus 140. So yeah, I mean, I would have loved to get some plus money violence in this fight. Now that it's not plus money, I don't have a ton of interest in it because, Tyson Nam, he's 40 years old at flyweight, but he is typically a tough, durable guy. He is very hard to take down. He has a 100% takedown defense. But yeah, I think this Maxim guy is the real deal. He's 16-0. He hasn't fought like complete bums. He's fought some okay competition. It's not like he's fighting, I don't know, Terrence Mitchell last week, where he fought just complete trash games. He's actually fighting real opponents with real records. Like for Terrence Mitchell last week, you would take a look at his Tapology, and his opponents, their records would say NA, right? This isn't the case with Maxim. So I think he's the real deal. I think he's really well-rounded. I think he has really good wrestling, grappling, sneaky power as well. I think he beats Tyson Nam, but minus 415, what are you going to do? I mean, that's a steep price tag for a guy making his debut, but it's really hard to get anywhere near a 39-year-old flyweight in Tyson Nam who has a puncher's chance. I mean, if you like Tyson Nam, you bet him by knockout because that's literally how he wins most fights, and in this fight in particular, which Nam by knockout is plus 750. I won't be betting it, but I think that's how you play Nam. And then in terms of Maxim, I mean, I can't lay this price tag on a guy making his debut. I can't lay minus 140 on a flyweight under. I mean, the fight doesn't go as minus 175. I can't lay that price tag, but I think this fight probably does finish, but just nothing sticking out from a betting perspective. From a DraftKings perspective, you have Maxim at 9,600. I think I'd rather go up and get Jack Della Maddalena, and then I think I'd rather go down and get Evan Elder. I don't think he's a terrible play, but there's just some plays I like a little bit more. I think I like Dudakova more for the grappling upside, but so not a ton of interest in this fight, but I do think Maxim is the real deal. I think this guy's legit. I don't think he's some fraud coming in here. And I think he gets past the 39-year-old flyweight and Tyson Nam. What would you pair Munoz by decision with? Double chance DK decision, decision or KO or decision or sub. I think I would go probably sub. Let's see, Munoz. So he has a 50% finish rate, 33% by knockout, 70% by sub. I think I would lean sub just because Deaton has been subbed twice, and he does seem like a tough guy, but I think decision's probably most likely. So decision sub sounds right, but I don't really see a sub or knockout. I like Azat, but respect to Nam. He comes in. Nam came in really good shape for guy 39 years old. Nam looks to be taking this fight very seriously. So we'll see what happens there, but it's hard to back a 39-year-old flyweight. Nunez getting the 50K bonus tomorrow. You heard it here first. After knocking Dudakova out, 50K. Yeah, I mean, if she wins, it's probably going to be in the first round and probably by knockout. Which anything can happen. We actually saw a strawweight first round knockout last week, so I mean, you never know. We got Tone in the chat. Let's go, Brady. Let's go, Tone. What is up? We got Cole in the chat. What's up, Brady? Let's make it a fun week with some cash bets. Let's do it. Let's do it. Melsic KO, 275, round 3, round 2. There you go. Yeah, that Melsic KO prop is juicy there. All right, let's keep moving on. We have my favorite fight on the prelims. We got Evan Elder going against Genaro Valdez. We have Evan Elder, a massive favorite here, minus 300, which it seems wide, but to be honest, I like Valdez as a fighter. I'm a big fan of these guys that like to go out there and just get into these car crash wars like Valdez. I'm a fan of these guys that just have no regards for their own safety in there, no regards for any striking defense to speak of. I'm a fan of those type of guys, and Valdez is one of them. But I just don't think Valdez is that great. I have serious concerns about Valdez and his durability. He's tough, but I mean, he's getting hurt not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, like multiple times in these fights on the Contender Series. He almost got finished like several times in the first round. Then he makes his debut against Matt Frevola. He gets dropped at least 4 times. On paper, it says 4. It could have been like 5 or 6. I mean, this guy got dropped left and right by Matt Frevola, which is, it's not a good look, but it's Matt Frevola, so I guess we can forgive him a little bit. And then I watched the Natan Levy fight where Natan Levy has no power. Natan Levy's not finishing anybody. I think Levy has maybe like a 30% finish rate. Go watch that first round. Levy is hurting this guy not once, not twice, but 3 times in the first round. Luckily, Valdez was fighting Levy, who has just zero killer instinct whatsoever, but Levy hurt him to the head, to the body on several occasions. So Valdez, he's exciting, he's dangerous, but defensively, he's a liability. I think his durability is a huge liability, and these guys are going to stand and bang. These guys are going to go to war. This is going to be a very, very exciting fight. And I got to go with the guy who I think is more durable, and that is Evan Elder, whereas Valdez, I could see him getting dropped like 10 times here. And that, I'm not making up that number. I could see it being like 10 times. Like his durability is atrocious. Like if this guy gets hit, he's getting hurt. He's getting dropped. So I got to go Elder here, and I think he finishes Valdez at some point. I do have the fight doesn't go to decision in a parlay. I don't have many bets this week. I have 3 bets. I have 2 parlays, and this is the first leg of one of my parlays. I have the fight doesn't go to decision. I think it's parlayable under 2.5. The under 1.5 is plus money, but I would like that extra, 7.5 minutes, to be honest, because I could see Valdez getting dropped like 60 times in this fight. But I think Elder eventually gets on top and pounds him out. The ref is going to be forced to stop this fight. Like, unless we got that Vagislav Kisiev guy that ref the Benoit Saint-Denis fight, unless we got him in there, or Mark Goddard. I mean, the ref is going to be forced to stop this fight when Valdez gets dropped for a record-breaking number of times here. So give me Elder to drop Valdez 70 times and eventually get on top and pound this guy out. Fight doesn't go in a parlay, under 2.5 in a parlay. As parlay pieces, I don't hate. Under 1.5, I don't hate either. It's plus money, but like I said, I would like that extra 7.5 minutes there. Give me violence. From a DraftKings perspective, love this fight. I think it's going to be a car crash. Evan Elder, super expensive, but like I said, he has knockdown upside. Like this guy can get 4 or 5 knockdowns. And then Valdez, if he wins, it's probably like a first round finish in his own right. So great fight to target on DraftKings. But I like the Elder side here. Not enough to lay minus 300 on him, but I do like Elder here. Nunez has no power. Tell that to Heregi. She dropped Heregi twice. I mean, she has some power, but only for 5 minutes. Oh, there you go. You brought it up. She dropped Yasmin. But come on now, Yasmin is super chinny as we know now. Nunez is not dropping Dudakova. We got the Bob. What is up, the Bob? Just found your channel. Good stuff. Appreciate you. We got Elder, Valdez under 2 rounds. Yeah, the fight won't start round 3. I think is solid. The violence, I think, is solid. Under 1.5, I don't think is the worst play in the world, but my concern is that Valdez gets dropped, gets back up, gets dropped, gets back up. I think it might take a little bit longer, but I think I'd be surprised if this fight went the full 15 there. Okay, I'm taking over 69.5 knockdowns. We might see 70. We might see 70 knockdowns here. I mean, this guy gets hurt with anything that lands. Labrir saying, I like Elder to get a few knockdowns tomorrow before the KO, assuming the judges know what a knockdown is and score them at knockdowns. Yeah, I mean, that's always a concern. Sometimes we do see fighters get knocked down. Like even like in the Levy fight, Levy was credited with 0 knockdowns. He arguably knocked him down twice in the first round. So I don't know. Do we think Nunez can take Victoria's undefeated record? We'll talk about that fight very, very shortly. I'm actually really looking forward to that fight. That is one of the very few fights on this card I am looking forward to. All right. Let's keep moving on to the next fight. We got Jack Della Maddalena going against Basil Hafez. This actually got moved to the co-main event. But we're gonna touch on it now. And I don't have much to say on this fight. I mean, I guess what I thought was interesting was checking the line, and I saw this newcomer coming in here about a week's notice, and I expected Jack to be like minus 1,000 against this guy, and he wasn't. He was like minus 600. And I was like, oh, this Hafez guy must be decent. He's got to be decent. If he's not, if Jack's not minus 1,000, and it turns out he is. I think this Hafez guy is pretty dang good. He's training with some very, very good guys. I think I saw him training with like the Usmans. I saw him training with Gage. I mean, he's training with very, very good fighters. And he's a good fighter. He's a black belt in BJJ. He's very explosive, solid wrestling, solid grappling, a lot of power on the feet. The problem with Hafez is he's very hittable. He does not move his head whatsoever. He gets tired very quickly, and it's just a tough matchup. Like, a lot of people taking the shot on Hafez, and I get it. I think he might even have some success early on because we do see Jack get taken down. We see Jack get put into bad spots, but he's always able to fight out of those bad spots. And for Hafez to win this fight, I kind of think he has to do it in the first round, especially coming in on short notice. I don't know if he has the gas tank to push a wrestling heavy pace across all 3 rounds here. So I think if Hafez does win this fight, it's probably a first round sub. And he might even have Jack in some bad spots, but I think Jack does get out of those spots. And once this is on the feet, Jack's just going to have a field day in terms of the striking. So I think Jack Della wins this fight by first round knockout. I haven't even checked the props on this one because they just dropped like sometime today. The fight doesn't go minus 800. No, thank you. Jack inside the distance minus 345. No, thank you. Jack by knockout is minus 275. No, thank you. I mean, hopefully we all learned our lessons. I didn't do it, but hopefully nobody parlayed up Bo Nickel by sub last week because it's MMA. Anything can happen. Laying minus 275 on a knockout prop is kind of ridiculous. Jack Della round 1 plus or minus 150. It looks like on Bovada it's plus 100. I'm not sure if that's a real line, but Jack Della round 1 plus 100. I still don't love that though because this Hafez guy's never been finished. So, and then Hafez round 1 plus 1,000. Nothing's really sticking out here at all. So, yeah, it's a pass spot for me. I like Jack on DK though. There's not a ton of safe plays, I'd say, on this card. But Jack at 9,700, I think he's really good for cash. I think he's really good for tournaments. I know he's expensive, but I think on this card it's fine. I can see him getting a first round knockout here, maybe a knockdown or 2. And then I don't think it's like the 60-second bonus, nothing like that, but I think Jack can put up a very, very good score here. Jack Della by decision plus 725. I get it. Hafez has never been finished, but it'd be a sweaty 15 minutes there. But if you want to take a shot on like a long prop, I don't think that's the worst read in the world, just because Hafez has shown to be very tough and durable. Jack cutting weight twice in the short term could be an issue. It could be. He looked fine at weigh-ins, but yeah, that's definitely something to mention, especially when we're talking about laying this big of a price tag on Jack Della Maddalena. Glad the UFC got another opponent this week after. Glad the UFC got Jack another opponent this week after traveling from Australia. Yeah, me too. He really wanted to fight before going back, and they're getting him a fight, and this should be a good fight. How just said your breakdown must have come out late this week. I generally thought you weren't putting one out because this card is kind of ass. Some good fights, but most the card meh. Yeah, I got it out late just because of the Vegas trip. I was planning on researching this fight before going to Vegas, and I tried, but there was just no way with some of these fights. I couldn't do it. So I needed to come back, and I had to really dig into some of these fights because I just had no clue for a lot of them. This is a tough card from a pick perspective, betting perspective. And after doing all this research, I still have no clue what to do on a lot of these fights. So that's why I was kind of out late. I didn't want to come and just put out like a half-assed video. But so got it, I think, Thursday, which is like the latest I got out a video in a very long time. So the UFC London will be out like Monday. I have 3 fights taped so far. I'm planning on doing like 7 more tonight, trying to get ahead a little bit. All right, let's move on. We have Mel Costa going against Austin Lingo. Man, this another price tag where I'm like, there's like no way. There's no way I can lay this price tag on Mel Costa. So Mel Costa at this point is minus 260. Minus 260. That's kind of wild because I don't think this guy's that great. I'll be looking to fade Costa in the very near future. I think his takedown defense is atrocious. I think he's very hittable. I've seen him get hurt on multiple occasions. Minus 260 is not something and on top of that, he showed up today with that blue hair, which I'm not a fan of. But in this matchup in particular, I think he wins it. I think he has more tools on the feet, higher volume. Love the kicks that Mel Costa brings to the table. I think if somebody's going to grapple in this matchup, it's going to come from the Costa side, but minus 260, I would not feel comfortable laying really anywhere near that price tag for Mel Costa in that one. So very low level fight. Like I'm not even sure either of these guys are that great, but Mel Costa just has so much more ways to win that I got to pick him. But minus 260 is ridiculous. Not playing Mel Costa on DK 9100. I think there's many better options. Dudakova, you have Sadikov who's cheaper. You have anybody else. I mean, even Maxim, Jack Della Maddalena. There's so many better options on DK than this guy. So I'm fading this fight from a betting perspective. From a DraftKings perspective, like if anything on DraftKings, it's probably Lingo 7100 because he does have power. And this fight could be close, especially if Costa doesn't grapple. Like if these guys strike for 15 minutes, I see no way Costa looks minus 260 here, but not a fight I'm very interested in at all. Don't really have a strong lean towards like whether the fight finishes or not because Lingo is super tough, and I feel like we don't know a ton still about Mel Costa. So it's a big just pass fight for me here. JDM under 4.5 minutes. I think it hits, but this Hafez guy has never been finished ever. He seems super tough, so I wouldn't do it. But I think he probably does get him out of there early. I'm doing a show. Come on. You're doing a show right now? What show are you doing? What is up, Mills? All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have a fight that I'm actually really looking forward to. We have Victoria Dudakova going against Estela Nunez. We have money actually pouring in on one Estela Nunez throughout the week. Dudakova was a massive favorite. She opened at minus 550. She's all the way down to minus 195. Nunez opened up plus 400. She's currently plus 170. And I do have a bet here. One of the very few bets that I have on this card. I have the fight doesn't go to decision, 1 unit, minus 105. It's minus 110 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Yeah, I think it's a violent fight here. I know it's a strawweight fight, but we saw a strawweight fight last week finish in 30 seconds. We have a striker versus grappler matchup here. We have a fight that I think it's Nunes early or Dudikova late. Estela Nunes is someone who is really good early on. Like in the first 5 minutes, Nunes is very good. And if her UFC fights were 5 minutes long and that's it, I mean, she'd be undefeated in the UFC, but she's not. And she's 0-3, and she's probably going to be 0-4 unless she knocks out Dudikova in the very first round. So on top of that, Nunes does struggle with the grappling defense, with the takedown defense. I think on paper, Nunes, her takedown defense is 53%. That's a problem here. Her cardio is a problem. She's been submitted twice. And Dudikova, when she does get on top, she is very dangerous and has finished, I think, all but 1 or 2 of her wins. I think all but 1. 83% finish rate there for Dudikova. So give me Dudikova to finish Nunes in that second or third round, but I think Nunes will have a lot of success early. I think Nunes will win the first round. So if you like Dudikova, you lie better. You don't want to lay this price tag. But give me the fight doesn't go to decision for this fight there. From a DraftKings perspective, great fight to target. Dudikova, wrestling upside, late finish upside. And then if Nunes wins, nobody's going to have her first and foremost. And then second of all, I think she probably knocks out Dudikova in the first round. Is that all that likely? Probably not. That's why I'm on the Dudikova side here. Brady, I have Dudikova second round submission. Remember it. Write it down. Yep, I'm picking the exact same thing. Second round submission. JDM to win in round 2, plus 480. Round 3, plus 1300. Not terrible. Not terrible. I just think violence is the answer here. You should make shirts. I should do some shirts here. I want to make a shirt that says no overs because I hate overs. I will never bet an over in my life. I actually have bet overs before, but I just don't like doing it. And I actually have a good success doing them, but I hate betting overs. Just can't imagine doing it unless it like really makes sense. Like if an over really makes sense, I'll bet an over. But I'm not betting an over in a Terrence McKinney fight. I'm not betting an over in a Gennaro Valdez fight. I'm not betting an over in a Ottman Azaitar fight. Like I don't bet overs that could easily finish in the first round. But if an over makes sense, I'll do it. Nunes KO1 plus 1600. Yeah, I think that's probably how she wins. I think that's probably how she wins in the first round. Hard to have confidence though in a first round knockout from a strawweight, but she hits hard. She does. Just ask Yasmin Haregi. Which fights are going over? I think the home fight probably goes over, but there could be some shenanigans going on. And then Holly Holm could get armbarred. I think Jung Young Park goes over. I think Dumont goes over. I think Melsick probably goes over. I think the Costa fight probably goes over. I think Nunes fight goes over. And then the Perez fight goes over. Sorry. What are a couple DraftKings plays you like? I like Terrence McKinney as a dog. I like Jack Della Maddalena. I like Evan Elder. I don't mind Holly Holm 5 rounds. I like someone in the Prado Azatar fight. I think you were 9 points away from first place last week. Yeah, first place last week scored a ridiculous amount of DraftKings points. I put up a massive score myself, and I wasn't even like close to first. It was a wild week. I think I had like Menefield in my lineup, and instead of I forget who. I think it was like Menefield instead of like Denise Gomes or something. But yeah, I put up a massive score, but the scores last week were just crazy. All right, we'll move on. We have Melsick Bagdasaryan going against Tucker Lutz. Nothing really sticking out on this fight. Melsick Bagdasaryan was actually a big favorite early in the week, and Lutz was like plus 180 for a while. And I wish I would have taped it sooner. If I did, I probably would have took the shot on Tucker Lutz at this big dog money around plus 185. But Didn't get into it until late. I think it's a close fight. I think, Melsic's obviously the better striker here, more tools on the feet, more power. But Tucker Lutz, is probably going to have some takedown upside here. Tucker Lutz probably has the better cardio as the fight goes on. I see it just being a very close fight. For that reason, I lean towards the dog side of Tucker Lutz, but just completely missed the boat. Like, he was plus 180 a couple days ago. Now he's plus 126. So really don't want anything to do with this fight now. Somebody in the chat brought up like Melsic by knockout. I don't think that's the worst look in the world. Melsic by knockout, like I see a plus 245, plus 225. But yeah, nothing really sticking out on this one. From a Draftkings perspective, I'm fading Melsic Bagdasaryan. I don't think he has a ton of upside. I don't think he has any grappling upside. I don't think he has much finishing upside, at least early. And then Tucker Lutz, 7,000. If anything, I'm playing him. I think he's way too cheap. He's a plus 126 dog at 7,000, which you're getting a lot of line value there. Wrestling upside, and if he wins this fight, he probably puts up a solid score at 7K. So I like Tucker Lutz on DK, but that is about it for this fight. That's what I'm saying. Overs do take the fun out of watching fights. I don't know why people like overs, but some people really like them for some reason. Melsic has been working with Khabib and DC. I did see that. I did see that. Very, very good stuff there from Melsic. I like Melsic quite a bit. I don't like Lutz really at all, but I think it's a close fight. Best live dogs. I think Duraev's. I don't like Duraev, but I think he's probably live. I think Chelsea Chandler's live. I think Marbano Silva's live. Otman Azaitar was a dog. I thought he was live. I think Terrence McKinney's live. I think Tucker Lutz is live. I think Austin Lingo's somewhat live. About it. There's quite a few. The dogs have been barking as of late. All right. We'll keep moving on to my main event of the evening. We got Nazim Sadikov going against Terrence McKinney. We have this line coming down a little bit throughout the week. It looks like we now have Sadikov minus 140, Terrence McKinney plus 120. So my night pretty much comes down to this fight. I did parlay up. The fight doesn't go the distance in two different parlays. I have 3 units on it total. So I'm looking for some violence here. I think the under 2.5 is a great parlay piece this week. I think the fight won't start round 3 is a great parlay piece this week. I think the under 1.5 is a playable play this week. Terrence McKinney's been to decision 0 times. He's been over 2.5 0 times. He's been to the third round 1 time. He's been over 1.5 1 time. And he's been to the second round, I think, 3 times. So Terrence McKinney is somebody who does get in and get out. Last time, though, he kind of changed up his style, and it did not work out for him at all. He looked rough in that fight. Just did completely nothing, just took his time, and that's just not his style. I expect Terrence McKinney to go back to the McKinney of old, go out there and try to take this guy's head off and do it early. And if he does, I think he does have a solid chance of pulling off this upset and finishing this fight very, very quickly. I'm going to pick Terrence McKinney to go out there and get the early finish, but as we know, if this fight does reach the 3rd, 4th, 5th minute of the fight, he's probably screwed and probably going to get finished. So I think violence is the answer here. It's really hard to be confident on picking a side just because McKinney is so dangerous early. Like, he can finish most guys in the division early. Like, he almost finished Drew Dober on multiple occasions. So I've seen Sadikov get hurt early on. I've seen him get put into a lot of bad spots, and I think McKinney will have a lot of opportunities early, but it has to be early. So give me McKinney to get it done early, but the under 1.5, the fight won't start round 3, under 2.5, fight doesn't go. All plays that I think make a lot of sense this week. And I do personally have the fight doesn't go to decision parlayed in 2 of my parlays, and I have 3 units total on that. So don't have a ton of spots this week, but that is one that I do have and I do like quite a bit. And if McKinney goes to decision, my night will be over, but I don't expect that to happen. Over in WMMA, a match made in heaven. I don't know, man. The Haregi fight ended in like 5 seconds, but I don't know. I actually have an under in a WMMA fight on this card too. Okay, what's up, Get Darts? How you doing? Tony saying McKinney and Nazim combined 20 of 21 wins by finish, all 6 losses by finish. Unders looking close to a lock. Don't like the L word, but I get what you mean. I think it's a good spot, and that's why it's like 66% of my night. This fight doesn't go. Terrence said last time he got poked in the warm-ups by his training partner. Goodness, he had double vision. under the bright lights. Wow. That's interesting. I didn't hear that. I have a weird feeling this one can go to decision. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, anything can happen. We've seen some weird things happen, but a Terrence McKinney decision, I don't know. I'll be happy to be wrong, though. Yeah, I mean, I hope you are. I mean, if you're right, my night's over. So we'll see. All right, we'll move on. Then we have Francisco Prado going against Ottman Azaitar. Another violent fight. I know, right? I don't know. I mean, if that's true, I don't know. I got poked in the eye by training. I've never heard that excuse, actually. So it's a very unique excuse by Terrence McKinney there. So yeah, another violent fight here. Prado, Azaitar don't really have a strong lean on who wins this fight, but I think somebody's getting served in this one. We have Prado with a 100% finish rate, Ottman Azaitar with a 92% finish rate. We saw Azaitar get starched in his last fight by Frivola, and then we saw Prado in his last fight show up and do his best William Knight impression, just doing nothing the entire time. Something to note that Prado Malarkey fight was in the bigger cage. We are in the smaller cage now, where that is kind of where Prado is used to fighting. You take a look at Prado's fights; a lot of them are in like very small cages, and we're going to be in the small cage here, which I like for Prado. I think we see a better version of him, because you take a look at Prado outside of that Malarkey fight where he pretended to be William Knight for the night. He's actually solid. I mean, this guy can wrestle. This guy has a ton of power. He marches forward, hands down. Has a big, giant head, and he's very hittable, but he's tough. He can take a punch, but I don't know if you want to be tough and take a punch against this Ottman Azaitar guy who hits like an absolute truck. So I think somebody's getting served here, probably under 1.5 rounds. The under's juiced though, but rightfully so. I have the fight doesn't go parlayed with the McKinney fight doesn't go. These lines have moved a ton though, so at this point I would just parlay the under 2.5s, and it comes out to about -150. I think that's a good look. But yeah, I think violence here is the answer. And I have 1.5 units on violence in this fight. On that fight doesn't go to decision. So I think somebody's getting served here. Don't know who. Don't really care who, but I hope somebody gets served in this one. From a DraftKings perspective, I think it's a great fight to target. We have very cheap price tags here. 8,200 for Prado, 8,000 for Azaitar. I think both guys have first round finish upside here. And both guys, if they win, I think have good opportunities to be on the optimal lineup here. So I have a ton of this fight on DK. I have a little bit more Azaitar because of the price tag. He's 200 cheaper, and I think he's now the favorite. Azaitar is nope, never mind. Looks like there has been some buyback on Prado. So it's Azaitar -105. Prado is -115, -117. So it's about a pick 'em there. So, but give me a Azaitar. I'll say for the knockout, but I think Prado's very live for a knockout in his own right. All right. Everyone hates Chris. What is up? What is up? I really like either fighter to get a KO in round 1. Ottman Prado fight. Yeah, I think that's a good look there. Tony saying, Brady, I can understand you not breaking down this card before heading out to see UFC 290. That's like breaking down an XFL game before heading out to watch a Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, I attempted to, and then I went to look into Eileen Perez, Ashley Evans Smith, and I just called it. I'm like, nope, I can't. I physically can't tape this card before leaving to Vegas. It's got to be when I get back. And even when I got back, it was like I really struggled to go out there and tape Norma Dumont against Chelsea Chandler. It was a rough card, but was able to tape everything, get all the content in this week, was able to catch up, was able to even get ahead for UFC London. So thank goodness, but that was a rough time taping some of these fights. Decision no action for Chandler. What do they call that on DK? They call that the finish only on DK. At least we get some good violence in the McKinney fight and the Azaitar fight before the last 3 snoozers. Yep. I don't have interest in the main event. I mean, my main event's the McKinney fight. I don't have interest in my neighbor's mowing right now. I mean, this guy mows probably 3 times a week. I mean, I mow it once a week, which I think is reasonable, but this guy's out here mowing probably 2-3 times a week at least. So he does he mows like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think he does like the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then like Tuesday, Thursday, he's out there weed whacking. I get, taking care of your lawn, but I mean, there's got to be, I think he heard me. I think you heard me. He shut it off. He shut off the lawnmower. He's looking over here. He's looking at me. How's it going? Chandler and Dumont trying to fight backstage. Really? It's probably more exciting than the fight tomorrow. How do they think a 41-year-old Holly Holm is still main event material? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no, literally nobody asked. I mean, if somebody asked for this to be a main event, let me know. But I doubt anybody asked for it. Love that McKenny moved his entire family to Texas to switch gyms. He's not the best guy in the room anymore, and he's getting his ass kicked on the daily basis and learning. Yeah, that's good. Good. Heck yeah. Love to see that. And I'm rooting for Terrence McKenny. I'm a big fan of the guy. So hopefully he gets it done. Got the lawnmower. Yeah. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Norman Dumont going against Chelsea Chandler. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I don't know what to say about this fight. I've never seen a exciting Norman Dumont fight in my life, ever. And I'm not sure that's going to change. Chelsea Chandler, she's kind of exciting. She kind of goes after, so maybe it's going to be a more fun fight than I'm planning for it to be, but I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm going to pick Chelsea Chandler just because I think she has a little bit more dog in her, a little more aggressive. But I don't think she's that great. I think she's very sloppy on the feet. Like, I went back and watched some of her fights, man. I mean, leaves a lot of openings on the feet. Her striking just very unique, I'd say. But I mean, she's aggressive. She hits hard. She's mean, and being mean in WMMA could be enough here. I don't know. Give me Chelsea Chandler for the upset, but I could care less on this fight. I'm not betting this fight, and quite frankly, I'm probably not watching this one either. Draftkings, nothing. Betting, nothing. Prize picks, nothing. Underdog, nothing sticking out. I think we can move on and save some time. Jung Young Park going against Albert Duraev. Yeah, I mean, I like Jung Young Park here. It's just, I think the line's about right. You minus 150 for Jung Young Park because this fight could be pretty close, pretty competitive. I think Jung Young Park is super underrated. Really always has been. I think this guy's solid. I think he's improving even. I like the volume of Park. I like the cardio of Park. I like the durability of Park. Whereas with Duraev, I question, all those things. Duraev's a guy that's very low volume. Duraev's a guy that's been knocked out in all 4 of his losses. He gets hurt a lot. Duraev's a guy that has very poor cardio, slows down in every fight. But, Duraev probably could have some success here early. But yeah, I think this fight goes the distance. I think it's close, competitive, and I think minus 150 for Park's about right. Nothing I'm running to the window for because, like I said, it probably goes to decision. The judges suck, and maybe they score it for Duraev for some reason. So give me Park. I don't mind Park on DK, but I don't love him on DK. 8,500 for a guy with some serious volume in there, I think is solid. I think on prize picks, Park's significant strikes, they're pretty low. I think it's like 40. Like 44 and a half, 46 and a half, something like that. That's pretty low for a guy that lands like 5 strikes per minute, a fight that I think primarily does play outstanding. So I think the more on the Park significant strikes is a solid look this week. But outside of that, not a ton of interest in this fight. Has your neighbor's yard ever been featured on the Better Home and Garden? It might have. It might have. Because it's wild, man. It is wild. This fight to go the distance is even on FanDuel, which is interesting because everybody thinks this fight goes to the scorecards, as far as I'm seeing. Even I think this fight goes to the scorecards. So for that to be able to pick him is kind of weird. I know Duraev has been knocked out in all 4 of his losses, but Park literally has like 0 power. So I don't see him knocking out Duraev on the feet, really. Maybe like a TKO, but I doubt that. So I think it does go to decision. But that line did stick out to me, and that line is kind of weird because a lot of people think this fight is going to decision. All right. Let's move on then to the main events. We have Holly Holm going against Mara Bueno Silva. Well, the UFC is saying this is the main event, but I disagree with them on that. We have Holly Holm 41 years old. She's going to be showing up to the fight with a walker, some slippers, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's a great fight for Holly Holm. I think she can go out there and make this look easy. But my concern here for this fight is that Holly Holm gets this fight down to the mat for no reason and gets armbarred, which I think that's like a very, very live outcome, is Holly Holm getting armbarred here. I mean, if Holly Holm was smart, she would keep this standing, because the thing about Mara Bueno Silva is she's an incredible grappler, but she never wrestles. It was actually the first fight ever she got a takedown was in her last fight against Lena Landsberg. She got her first takedown ever, and she's been in the UFC for like a long time. So Bueno Silva does not wrestle. The one time she did wrestle, she got the takedown. It was against Lena Landsberg, but Landsberg has like a 47% takedown defense, right? So I don't think Silva is going to take down Holly Holm, and I don't think Silva will probably even try. But Holly Holm might go out there and take down Silva, and that might be a problem. So I like Holly Holm, but I can see it now. I lay minus 160 on Holly Holm. She takes down Mara Bueno Silva. She gets armbarred, and my TV's in the Ohio River a couple minutes later. So I do not want to go out and purchase another TV. And so for that reason, I'm passing on this fight. If you like Mara Bueno Silva, you better buy sub. She's not winning a decision. You wouldn't think. You never know with the corrupt judges, though. She's not knocking out Holly Holm. If Mara Bueno Silva wins, it's probably by sub. So that is that's about all I got, guys. 3 bets. 3 seems like too many. I have my violence parlays, violence in the Prado, parlayed with violence in the McKinney, and then violence in the Valdez, parlayed with the violence in the McKinney. My night pretty much comes down to the McKinney fight finishing inside the distance, and then I have violence in the Dudikova fight, but after that, nothing's sticking out at all. So super, super short and sweet week, keeping it light, which is fine. We have so many cards this year. We're in the mix of a 17-week stretch. I had 22 bets last week, and I have like 3 this week, and 3 is enough for me. So going to get ahead for UFC London, try to beat some line movement, trying to get in on some early lines. These lines have been moving a lot lately, trying to maybe get some early movement on the props as well this week. Going to get ahead. But yeah, this card, man. So so whenever my bets already, not much to talk about. Going to hit up the chat, and then we'll head out of here. And my prize picks breakdown's out now. And my betting breakdown video will be out in 2 hours, which I debated like not even posting a betting breakdown video this week, because I'm literally like, how could you bet minus 230 on Eileen Perez? You know the drill. But we have a card. We have a card Saturday. Let's go. Whoa. Really? Is that so? I might have to play that if it's plus 433 for real. I don't have William Hill though. I have Bet Rivers. Let me take a look. Mara Bueno Silva by sub plus 430. I have a plus 390, which is not terrible. I mean, that's how she wins, but I don't know if I don't even really want to put any money on this fight, to be honest. I'll just say, Brady, you're too funny. Man, it's just the way you casually say my TV will be in the Ohio River, like the video for Brady people. I mean, yeah, it's true. It's happened before. Sounds like gunshots just went off. It's happened before, and it'll quite frankly, it might happen again. Do you think Paul Craig should be plus 170 next week? That's a weird match. That Muniz Craig fight's a weird matchup next week. Like, Muniz just decided not to grapple in his last fight against Brendan Allen, and then ended up getting subbed. I wish I knew the game plan of Muniz. It'd make the fight so much easier to break down. Because my concern for this fight for Muniz is that, and maybe it's not a concern, maybe Muniz goes out there and tries to strike with Paul Craig, which, that's probably not a terrible idea, but Muniz is such a good grappler. I would like to see him grapple. All right, guys. Oh, I do. You're talking about best bet. It's every Saturday. Don't worry. Well, I'll be going live tomorrow. Thanks for reminding me, by the way. Thanks for reminding me. Tomorrow, best bet, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Be there. I have seen Carl Deaton's hair. It's the most atrocious thing I've ever seen in my life. Best of luck, everybody. Appreciate you all. Like on your way out, subscribe, and good luck for UFC Vegas 77. Bankroll management's key. Do not lay minus 250 on Ali Perez, and we'll talk